raised in a family that went to church every Sunday while growing up. I was baptized as a baby. I remember getting to wear a nice white dress for my first Holy Communion and was confirmed. I couldn't tell you now, and I don't think I could even have told you then what it even meant to be confirmed. All I remember is going to a few classes in junior high school and then attending a special ceremony. I always believed in God and Jesus. I just never really thought about them. Going to church was something you had to do on Sundays. There were a few times in high school when I had the opportunity to attend a few retreats, and I thought these were wonderful. I met great people and enjoyed the entire church experience. Unfortunately, the feeling just didn't stay with me. In college, a high school friend of mine dragged me to another retreat, but I just didn't allow myself to enjoy. I was missing a weekend of college fun. If only I knew then what I know now. I had talked myself into a life of, as long as I'm a good person, I'll be okay. I don't have to go to church, etc. I'm not even sure the order things happened, but last summer my sister asked me if I had ever read the Left Behind series. And I remember reading the first book years ago, but I guess I never realized there was a whole series. Once I started reading, I couldn't get enough of these books. If you don't know what they are, it's a fictional series that follows the lives of people who are found left behind after the rapture. Follows them through the 7-year tribulation. I don't want to tell too much about it, but they're very easy to read, hard to put down books. There were numerous biblical references used throughout this series, and I'm reading these thinking, wow, I'm going to be left behind when all this happens. And then I thought, now wait a minute, Jane, these are just fictional books based on the Bible. Let me start reading the Bible to find any of these comparisons. Well, after that, I couldn't get enough of reading anything. Greg Lowry, David Jeremiah. It was kind of like a light bulb turning on when I realized that these biblical stories are not just stories. These are things that actually happened. Just because it was thousands of years ago does not mean that the truth has changed. I never really grasped the notion that there had been prophets way before Jesus that foretold his coming. If that was the case, why on earth would I doubt anything Jesus said about the future of our world? I would say that my reading this fictional series led me to the Bible, which changed me into a strong believer in Jesus, and I began thanking him for my life and asking for forgiveness of anything and everything I could ever think of that I had done throughout my life. I wish my sister was here because she is the one who had really got me started on this. Somewhere in the beginning of this new line of thinking, for me, I was getting bothered by the way I was living. There are so many things in our house. We're not wealthy, but we were spending money like it just didn't matter much, going out to dinner whenever we felt like it, buying new movies as they were released. I was ordering books from Amazon like crazy. Nothing major, but I was also afraid for the effect this was having on my husband's children. Felt like we were not setting a good example, and they were thinking we could buy anything and everything we ever wanted. And at Christmas time, I remember feeling bad that I didn't think I bought enough for everyone. There were no big surprise gifts. That's because we didn't really need anything. And besides that, that's not Christmas is all about anyway. So I was upset at myself over that. I started praying that we would become more careful and mindful of what is right. And they say God works in mysterious ways. Well, on December 31st, my husband was let go from his job. Of course, I was upset at first. We were now losing about 2/3 of our income, but on the other hand, I had to laugh, wow, if this isn't a wake-up call to be more careful. We have cut back on a lot of useless spending, and I also know that when he does get a job again, I pray that this will not change for me. I believe that I can stay on this better path that has found me. I've had many other wake-up calls and realizations since all of that, and I do believe that everything happens for a reason and that I must have a purpose in this life. I do pray, and I do believe in the power of prayer. I still feel like I'm not good at it, but I try. I feel more complete now than I used to. It's definitely an ongoing process. When I decided that I wanted to find a church to belong to, I'm so thankful that this is the one I came to. My hesitation was I knew that my husband wouldn't come with me because it's not a Catholic church, but I needed to find something that I felt comfortable with, and he supported me in that decision. I knew from the first time that this was what I had been missing in my life. I have met many wonderful people and can't say enough about taking the Alpha class, which is part of the reason Ron is standing behind me here. It was through this class that I really began to know that I could talk to Jesus and that he does listen. I know for a fact that he has answered me also, and I can't think of a specific example right now, but I could be driving along somewhere when all of a sudden a problem resolves itself in my head, or I finally just see a clear and obvious answer to a question. And I know this is because I've prayed about it and Jesus is answering me. He has calmed me at work. I tend to be one that gets upset easily, takes things personally. And there was an incident at my job just a few weeks ago where this started to happen, and I just started praying to Jesus to help me keep myself together and not cry. I don't know why I was so surprised that it worked. Friday, as I was coming back into work for my lunch hour, I remembered a question that was asked to me about 6 years ago. Somehow religion had come up in conversation with a few of my coworkers, and one of them asked me, "Oh, come on, do you really believe that Jesus was born from a virgin, that he really came alive again?" And at the time, I just answered that I never really thought about it. Well, what a different answer I would have now if that conversation came up again. I have definitely felt a change in my life for the better. I don't worry so much anymore, and I know God will take care of me as long as I keep working on myself.